So one of the things that I worry about the most is the fact that we don't always take voting as seriously as we should. We think about the presidential elections, but when it comes to our state elections, we don't pay as much attention. And I really do run into lots of people when I was running, because I did have the privilege of running for an office here. I ran for delegate. And what I found is that folks would say, well, I vote for president, but I don't vote in the other elections.
Mhm.
And what I really want people to know and understand is the state elections are the ones that really affect your life every single day. So we have to get very focused on not just presidential elections, but our state and local elections, because they are the ones that really give you the ability to thrive, quite frankly.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, in the last 8 years, I've lived in 5 different states. And so I have like been affected by the different states' laws and regulations and things like that. And I can see so clearly how one state versus another state here in our same country can have so many different policies that affect your life, affect my life, affect our community. Talking about the local elections and the importance behind them, like what would you say are some of the biggest like achievements that come to mind right off the top of your head from like local people putting initiatives on the ballot, or like things that changed in a local election that you see were very fundamental or made a big impact in that state or in that locality?
I'll tell you one that really sticks with me. So in Virginia in 2019, through the state elections, Democrats were able to reduce the price of insulin, which I think can be up to $700 a month for folks, and it was capped at $50. So more than 50,000 Virginians had the ability now to get insulin that wasn't going to break them. So that's a really, really big deal. There were changes around healthcare that made it easier for them to have access to healthcare that they didn't have access to before. There was the legalization of marijuana, which was a really big deal. But really, the point is that African Americans were getting arrested triple the rate of white people for the same offense.
Right.
So what do? You just legalize it for everybody. So those were a couple of the really important things that happened that really made a huge difference in the lives of Virginians.
Like how do people find out about like where to vote or when elections are? Like what resources would you point people towards?
Really easy. iwillvote.com.
Okay, perfect. iwillvote.com. Nice. And that just lays it all out there for everybody.
It's like you can't get any easier than that. iwillvote.com. And you can go there, and whatever state you're in, it will give you all the information that you need. There is no reason today for folks not to participate in this process. Yeah, and let me just say this. So, because I like to be really honest about this. I was not always engaged in the voting process. I worked, I traveled, I just wasn't. And so for a while, I felt really guilty about that, especially as I had more time and began to understand the issues and what was at stake. But I don't hold that against myself anymore, and I don't hold it against others, because I think one important aspect is this: when you know better, you do better. And so I feel like I was late coming along, but I also feel this responsibility to bring everybody else along with me. So every opportunity that I have to advocate for folks to vote and to make sure that their voices are heard, I take the opportunity to do that, because we are in a place today where it just cannot be squandered. It wasn't that long ago. And yeah, I call myself an old chick, but think about this for a minute. It's only been more than 50 years before, especially African Americans really had the right to vote in 1965. Yeah. Just wasn't that long ago. And so when you think about how hard fought it was to get the right to vote. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think about the Edmund Pettus Bridge, John Lewis, and how folks were just viciously beat down, all for the right to vote. And so we have to take that very seriously today, because there are pieces of legislation and policy that's important to people. The minimum wage. I mean, Democrats worked to get the minimum wage to $15 over the next couple of years. Already legislation has been put forth to make it 11. So if you just think about that one piece of legislation that would be important to everyday people. But this is really interesting. You can see this. So this is a postcard.
Oh yeah.
See that? So this is the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel.
I love that. So
These are actually postcards that we're going to be using. We're going to mail them out. They'll have, you can see the QRC on the back where they'll be able to, but this is for voter registration. And you know what we're going to do? Right here where it says, did you know? We're going to write 50,000 people have access to insulin for $50 a month for their medicine. And it'll say, good things happen when you vote. Register to vote. Doesn't say Democrat or Republican, because at the end of the day, we just need people to get registered and participate in this process. And so this is going to be how we do it for registration.
Thank you so much, Fennell, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. And don't forget to register to vote.
Thanks, Matt. Bye.
Bye.